we now have all the information regarding the 8 new artifacts coming to Season 7 of New World Aeternum. And we're not only talking about the unique perk that's coming with each of these, but also all the other perks. So we really can get a pretty good idea if there's one out of these 8, or maybe 2 or 3 of them, that we're going to want to pick up for some of our builds moving forward. So today's video, we're just going to highlight all 8 and just go over our overall thoughts and reactions to these new artifacts coming to the game. Starting with this first one, which is called Dorgort's Blade, which is a rapier. It looks like you can obtain this new rapier by doing a mutated version of Forge. So pretty straightforward process of getting this, just like a bunch of the others. You just have to complete at least an M1 of that specific mutated dungeon, and then there you go, you have a chance of actually picking it up. The special perk for this is called Lava Tip. Heavy melee attacks on either weapon cause 10% burning for 5 seconds, and it can stack up to 3 times, which is pretty good in regards to the overall damage output, but realistically, I highly doubt people are going to be dropping heavy attacks with the rapier. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of a good situation where someone would actually use this. I mean, it also has trenchant strikes and refreshing moves, so it really is pushing the user to just essentially deal heavy attacks with the fire staff. One build that I think this might work out with is kind of like a flamethrower slash rapier build, where strictly PvE, you kind of only swap over to rapier to throw some heavy attacks, and then you swap back over to your fire staff and do flamethrower because you'll be in close range anyways. That's just kind of a random idea, but realistically, I don't think this is going to be used that often, especially in PvP situations. Next up, we have the Shrapnel new musket. So it looks like you can actually get this musket from a OPR crate in Season 7. Chances are that once Season 8 comes out, if you did not get this, then they're just going to add a new way for you to actually unlock it. The big thing here is called a Shrapnel Shot. Cause a 10% bleed for 10 seconds on critical hits. That is scary. Keenly jagged, vicious as well. I mean, the amount of bleed damage that this thing can do is probably going to be pretty intense, realistically. I can see people rocking this potentially in outpost rushes. Time will tell on how intense this bleed really is, but it does seem a little bit scary. But hey, only time will tell. We'll see how this goes. Honestly, this might even have a place for some players going into the seasonal worlds. Overall, I mean, like, it seems like it's pretty easy to get. I'm assuming you can get artifacts no problem in the seasonal worlds. It's just, I'm not sure if they confirmed yet if characters in the seasonal world can actually do outpost rush with those unique weapons, because it might just be a little bit unfair. But hey, if you can get your hands on this musket for the PvP seasonal world, I can see people camping and just dishing off tons and tons of bleed damage that way. Next up, we have the one piece of jewelry, which is the Justice Earring. So it looks like you can get this from influence races, so that's a little bit of a change, which is good. They're trying to push people to kind of do some more of these unique activities, which, hey, I'm a fan for. Mix it up, make it a little bit unique on how to actually get these artifacts. And it looks like the special perk for this one is Alchemist Ward. So after taking 20 hits, you gain a potion surge for 60 seconds to instantly recharge your next healing potion. That's not bad at all. Especially if you're like a heavy player, 20 hits is going to be adding up pretty quickly. So I can potentially see some players using this. Empowering Toast is nice. Healing Heart isn't bad too. I can see bruisers potentially playing around with this, especially if they only have this and not the Ankh amulet, because as of today, I do think a lot of bruisers use Ankh. But hey, maybe this will mix things up, especially for those who haven't gotten lucky getting Ankh on the PvP track. This is definitely something that I think would be pretty useful in the meantime. Next up, Burninator, the new Fire Staff artifact. This one, it looks like you can get by defeating the corrupted Leviathan. I think that's part of like those corrupted breaches, but let me know in the comments below if I'm incorrect there. But it sounds like this might be another one where you have to do some high level corrupted breaches for the most part, unless this is a specific named enemy, which honestly it might be. Regardless, you're gonna have to do some grinding, I'm sure, to get this. And it has the Burnination perk. Of course, it's Burnination for the Burninator, right? This perk provides fire staff skills and heavy attacks to deal 33% less damage, but cause 15% burning for 5 seconds, with the stacking up to 5 times. It also has keenly jagged. It looks like they just didn't add a separate bullet. That's interesting. I feel like a lot of people use the fire staff for burst damage, so I'm not sure if they're going to be fans of this initial debuff in regards to damage output for skills and heavy attacks, but hey, maybe some people can find a usage for it. At first glance, I think there might be better options out there. Next up, the Aconite bow. It looks like you can get this by defeating Feridulon the Rootbound, which sounds like it's a named enemy somewhere in Reekwater. So I guarantee you that first few days of Season 7, people are just going to be camping out there. So find a group, and I'm sure you'll be able to get this one pretty quickly. This one has the Poison Affinity unique perk that calls out that it deals 15% more damage to poisoned enemies. It also has Poison Tipped, which means heavy attacks will apply poison. Plus, matching that with Enchanted and Refreshing Move. I do think there is a use case for this bow. I know a lot of people are fans of the Boltcaster artifact, but honestly, this will mix things up, and I can definitely see some bow enjoyers building some builds to kind of really push out poison damage. Next up, we have the Otzi Ice Gauntlet. So this is really playing off of the Entomb ability for the Ice Gauntlet. It has the Frozen Tomb perk to it. It's saying that hitting a target with Entomb's Break will inflict them with Frostburn, slowing their movement speed by 10% and dealing 10% of your weapon damage every second for 5 seconds. It also has Vicious and Refreshing Move. I mean, I think Deadly Frost outperforms this at initial glance, but again, maybe there's a use case for it. Maybe heavy Ice Gauntlet, Void Gauntlet users can find some sort of usage for this. But again, I do think there might be better options out there today. But hey, some people might be a little creative and find a way to make this work for them. Next up, the Heceta Life Staff, which is awesome. We need more Life Staff. The current one, Vengeance, is honestly a bit of a joke. It's just not worth using that first Life Staff artifact based on the special perk it gives you. But let's take a look at this one. It allows the Light Touch perk, which enhances heavy attacks after casting abilities, granting allies 30% damage absorption. That honestly seems really good to me. I mean, it also has Blessed and Refreshing Move. This is a bit of a new buff, I believe, overall. Granting allies 30% damage absorption through heavy attacks sounds huge to me. I'm not sure how their other spells really cast in regards to overall damage absorption, but 30% sounds huge, and honestly sounds like it'll be helpful for not only PvE, but also PvP situations. If you guys are like main healers and you kind of have a good idea of the overall damage absorption that you can do today, let me know in the comments. I'd just be really curious because I think this one might actually be pretty useful long term. And then last but not least, we have the new Void Gauntlet artifact called Fracture. So you can get this one, it looks like, from completing major darkness events. So maybe that is what I was talking about before with them being corrupted, but I guess time will tell as well on what a major darkness event truly is. I haven't really heard that terminology before. This one though has Mending Rupture. It increases overflowing essence healing by 100% and increases rupture damage by 50%. So honestly, I think this has an opportunity to play along with a lifesteal build, utilizing like Void Blade, and then of course making sure you have the this ability working as well. It's got Keen, which is definitely a great perk for Void Gauntlet. Refreshing move, also very good, especially if you're using Void Blade with your Void Gauntlet. So I do think there might be a unique use case for this too. Overall though, I don't see any of these artifacts really just breaking the game. Maybe that life staff, but for the most part, I don't think we'll see anything too broken from these. Again, we'll see how this whole bleeding musket build will go down, long term. But yeah, there's a sneak peek of all the different artifacts. Again, I kind of went through this pretty quickly. I'll share the link to this article in the description of this video. And yeah, let me know what you think about these artifacts, and if there's any that you definitely want to grab early and upgrade to 725 as soon as possible, depending on what type of build you're putting together. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.